classroom was quiet, but the silence was heavy. Maya sat at her desk, her small body trembling. She pressed her hands against her lower back, tears rolling down her cheeks. I can't sit down, she whispered, her voice shaking. Her classmates stared, unsure what to do. Some leaned closer, curiosity in their eyes. Others looked away, afraid to get involved. Her teacher, Ms. Harris, walked over quickly. "Maya, what's wrong?" she asked softly, concern clear in her voice. Maya's breath came in short, painful gasps. It hurts so much," she said, her words barely audible. She tried to explain, but each movement sent sharp pain through her spine. The girl's tears kept falling, leaving streaks on her dusty school uniform. Maya's friends, sitting nearby, exchanged worried glances. Lila, her best friend, moved closer. "Maya, tell me what happened," she whispered. Maya shook her head violently, clutching her back even tighter. I can't, it's my daddy, he did this," she sobbed. The classroom felt colder somehow. The words echoed in everyone's mind. Her dad? Maya's words made no sense to the other kids. How could her father hurt her? Some of the students gasped quietly. The teacher's eyes widened, and she knelt beside Maya, trying to understand. Maya rocked slightly in her chair, unable to sit upright. The pain was too sharp, too deep. She wanted to explain more, but the fear in her chest was stronger than her voice. She remembered the night before, the way her dad had shouted and thrown things around the room. She remembered the moment he had pushed her, the sudden jolt in her back that wouldn't go away. Every memory brought a fresh wave of pain, and she gasped again. Ms. Harris put a comforting hand on her shoulder. "Maya, we can help you. Please, tell me everything," she said gently. Maya looked up, her eyes red and swollen. She wanted to trust her teacher, but the fear of her dad's anger made her hesitate. She bit her lip, shaking. Her mind raced. If she told someone, would her dad get even angrier? Would she be in even more danger? The other students whispered among themselves. Some stared openly. Others hid their faces behind their hands. The room was filled with tension, a heavy, suffocating kind of silence. Maya's cries were soft now, almost a whisper, but they carried all the pain she'd been holding inside. He's guilty, my dad," she murmured. Lila leaned closer, whispering, "It's not your fault, Maya. We'll find a way to help you." The words gave Maya a tiny spark of hope, but the fear in her stomach didn't fade. Her back throbbed with pain every second, and she couldn't stop shaking. Every movement was a battle, every breath a struggle. Ms. Harris nodded to the other students. "Give her space," she said firmly, guiding them away. She helped Maya lean back in her chair, supporting her gently. Maya felt a strange mix of fear, relief, and uncertainty. The fear of her dad's reaction was still there, like a shadow hovering over her. But for the first time, she thought maybe someone could help her. Her thoughts were interrupted by another sharp pang in her back. She gasped loudly and pressed her hands harder. "It hurts! It hurts so much!" she cried, and her voice broke completely. The classroom seemed to fade around her. All she could feel was the pain, the fear, and the weight of the secret she had carried for so long. And in that moment, everyone in the room knew Maya's life was about to change forever. But how? And would she survive the storm her father had caused? No one could answer that yet. The classroom had emptied, leaving Maya alone with her thoughts and the lingering pain in her back. She sat quietly on a worn wooden chair, her hands pressed against the bruises forming on her skin. Every time she moved, a sharp stab of pain shot through her spine. Her breaths came in small, ragged gasps. The silence of the empty room was heavy, almost deafening. Maya's mind drifted back to home, to the night that had changed everything. Her father's voice still rang in her ears, loud, angry, threatening. The sound of slamming doors and breaking furniture haunted her even now. She had tried to hide the pain, tried to act normal in front of her mother, but her mother had been distant, lost in her own sorrow. There was no one to save her, except maybe someone outside her home. The memories were sharp, almost too much to bear. She remembered the way her father had pushed her, how her back had slammed against the edge of the wooden table. She remembered falling to the floor, crying silently so her mother wouldn't hear. The pain had been unbearable, not only in her back but deep inside her chest, where fear and helplessness weighed her down. Maya hugged her knees tightly, trying to control her shaking. She felt trapped. How could she survive another day? She wanted to scream, to tell someone, but she feared what her father would do if he found out. Every thought of telling a teacher or a friend made her stomach twist. What if he found out? What if he hurt her even more? Her best friend, Lila, had noticed something was wrong that morning. Lila had approached her gently, her eyes full of worry. "Maya, you can tell me anything," she had whispered, her hand brushing Maya's arm. But Maya had shaken her head, the word stuck in her throat. She couldn't say it yet. Not here, not now. The secret of her pain was too heavy, too dangerous to share. The fear in Maya's heart was overwhelming. But alongside it, a small spark of hope flickered. Maybe, just maybe, if she could tell the right person, someone could save her. Maybe she could escape the fear that had followed her for so long. She thought about the teacher again. Ms. Harris had seemed kind, patient, and careful. Perhaps, maybe she could trust her. But even the thought of telling an adult made her chest tighten. Would anyone believe her? Would her father find out and punish her even more? Maya's back throbbed as she shifted slightly, tears streaming down her face. The pain was constant, like fire spreading along her spine. She could not sit still, could not lie down comfortably. Every move reminded her of the night before, of the harsh hand of her father, and of the secret she had been forced to carry alone. Her mother walked in silently, carrying a bag of groceries. She glanced at Maya, her face unreadable. "Dinner soon," she said softly, but did not come closer. Maya nodded quietly, avoiding her mother's eyes. She couldn't explain. No words could describe a mixture of fear, pain, and hopelessness inside her. Alone again, Maya pressed her face to her knees, shivering from more than just a cold. She made a silent promise to herself. She would survive. Somehow, one day, she would tell someone and things would change. She didn't know when or how, but the thought of escape gave her strength. Outside, the wind howled against the windows. It felt like the world was watching, waiting. Maya's secret was dangerous, but it was also her power. She had to be careful. She had to be smart. And most of all, she had to be brave. The night would be long. The pain would be sharp. But somewhere deep inside, Maya's spark of hope burned brighter than ever. The next day, the school corridors were noisy, filled with students laughing, talking, and rushing to their classes. But Maya felt distant, trapped in a bubble of pain and fear. Her back throbbed with every step, each movement a sharp reminder of what had happened at home. She tried to walk normally, but she could barely hold herself upright. During recess, she found a quiet spot near the school playground. The swings creaked in the wind, and the trees whispered with the gentle breeze. Maya sat on a bench, hugging her knees, trying to hide from the world. She didn't want anyone to see how weak and scared she felt. Then Lila appeared. She had been watching Maya since morning, waiting for a moment when she could approach without drawing attention. "Hey, Maya," Lila said softly, sitting beside her. Maya didn't look up. Her tears threatened to spill again, but she held them back, biting her lip. "I know something is wrong," Lila continued gently. "You don't have to say it if you don't want to, but I'm here, okay?" Her voice was soft but steady, full of care and determination. For a moment, Maya felt a flicker of comfort. Lila had always been kind, always protective. Maybe she could trust her. Maya's hands trembled. Her voice shook as she whispered, "It's my dad. He hurt me." The words were small, broken, but they carried a lifetime of fear. Lila gasped quietly, covering her mouth. "Oh, Maya, I'm so sorry. You didn't deserve this," she said, her eyes filling with tears. Maya pressed her face against her knees, her body shaking. "I don't know what to do. I can't. I'm scared. If I tell anyone, he'll be angry. He'll hurt me more." The fear in her voice was raw and real. Lila squeezed her hand. "You don't have to face this alone," Lila said firmly. "We can tell someone. The teacher, someone can help you." You don't have to hide anymore. Maya shook her head, tears falling freely now. I don't know if I can. I'm scared he'll find out. He's dangerous. Lila pulled her into a gentle hug. I'll be with you. I won't leave you. No matter what, I promise. We'll figure this out together. For the first time in days, Maya felt a tiny spark of hope. Maybe, just maybe, she didn't have to be alone anymore. They stayed on the bench for a long time. The playground noises faded as Maya slowly spoke in small, broken sentences, telling Lila bits and pieces of what had happened. Every word was heavy with fear and pain. Every memory made her flinch, but Lila listened patiently, never interrupting, never judging. Tomorrow, Lila whispered, we'll tell Ms. Harris. She can help. You don't have to stay silent. Maya nodded, still scared, still in pain, but a little braver. She knew the path ahead would be hard. Her father was dangerous, and the world outside could be cruel. But with Lila by her side, she felt a strength she hadn't felt before. As the recess bell rang, they stood up. Maya still held her back, every step causing sharp pain, but her heart felt lighter. A plan had formed in her mind. She would trust someone. She would survive. And maybe, one day, she could be free from the fear that had chained her for so long. But deep inside, a silent question lingered. Would her father find out before she could escape? The thought sent a shiver down her spine. The danger was still very real, and Maya knew she had to be careful. Every step, every choice mattered now. The next morning, Maya sat quietly in the classroom, her back still aching from the injuries she had tried so hard to hide. Every movement made her wince, but she forced herself to sit upright, trying to appear normal. The fear of her father lingered like a shadow, making her heart pound in her chest. Ms. Harris noticed Maya's discomfort immediately. She had seen the bruises before, and the pain in Maya's eyes was impossible to miss. The teacher waited until most of the students had settled at their desks, then walked over and knelt beside her. Maya, she said softly, I can see that you're hurting. You don't have to be afraid here. Can you tell me what happened? Maya's eyes darted around the room. Her classmates were busy with their work, some sneaking glances at her, but none were close enough to hear. She swallowed hard, her throat dry and tight. It's my dad, she whispered, barely audible. Her hands trembled as she pressed them against her bruised back. He hurt me? Ms. Harris's face softened, filled with concern. She put a gentle hand on Maya's shoulder. You did the right thing telling me. I'm here to help you. No one has the right to hurt you. Maya wanted to believe her, but fear still gripped her heart. What if her father found out? What if he came after her? Maya's mind raced with memories of home, the shouting, the throwing of things, the fear that had kept her silent for so long. Every flashback made her shiver. She bit her lip, tears forming in her eyes. He will be angry, she whispered. I don't know what to do. Ms. Harris nodded, her voice calm but firm. We'll be careful. I'll make sure you are safe. You don't have to face this alone anymore. You've been very brave. Maya's lips trembled as the words sank in. Bravery felt strange to her. It was not something she had ever felt before. The teacher gently guided Maya to an empty office, away from the prying eyes of other students. Take your time, she said. Tell me everything from the beginning. I'll listen, and then we'll figure out how to keep you safe. Maya's hand shook, but she began to speak. Her voice was low and broken at first, but the words poured out, memories of pain, fear, and abuse. Each sentence brought tears, but also a sense of release. Ms. Harris listened patiently, nodding, never interrupting. When Maya finished, the teacher took a deep breath. Thank you for trusting me, Maya. I promise you, we will protect you. No one will hurt you again. But even as the teacher spoke, Maya felt a flicker of fear. Her father was unpredictable. He could find out at any moment. The thought made her tremble. She looked at Ms. Harris, her voice quivering. Will he go to jail? Will I be safe? Ms. Harris placed a reassuring hand on her arm. We have people who handle this. You will be safe, and he will be held responsible. You did nothing wrong. You are not alone anymore. Maya blinked rapidly. a mixture of relief and fear washing over her. The next steps were slow, but necessary. Ms. Harris would contact Child Protection authorities, making sure Maya was never left alone with her father again. The thought was scary, but it also gave her hope, a small, fragile hope that life could change, that she could be free from fear. As Maya left the office, her back still aching, she realized something. She had taken the first step toward freedom. It was terrifying, uncertain, and dangerous, but it was also a start. And for the first time in a long time, she believed that maybe, just maybe, she could survive. The house was quiet, but the tension inside it was thick enough to choke. Maya sat on the worn couch, hugging her knees to her chest. Her back throbbed sharply with every small movement. She tried to focus on the faint sunlight coming to the window, but her mind kept returning to one question. Had her father suspected anything? She could hear his footsteps from the next room. Each creak of the floorboards made her stomach tighten. He had come home early today, earlier than usual. His shadow fell across the doorway as he entered, and Maya froze. Every instinct screamed at her to hide, to pretend everything was normal. "Where is she?" he called out suddenly, his voice sharp and angry. Maya's mother stayed silent, avoiding his gaze. Her father's eyes swept the room, suspicious and calculating. He had a way of noticing things that made Maya's blood run cold. Maya tried to make herself small, pressing her back against the couch. I'm here," she whispered, her voice trembling. The fear in her chest was heavy, almost unbearable. She remembered what had happened the night before, the shouting, the pushing, the pain that had burned in her back. And now, she knew she had to be careful. One wrong move, one wrong word, and he could become violent again. Her father's gaze fell on her. "You've been acting strange," he said slowly, his tone dangerous. Maya's heart pounded. She forced a small, shaky smile. "I'm fine," she said, trying to sound normal, but the tremor in her voice betrayed her. He stepped closer, his presence overwhelming. "Fine, huh?" he repeated, his eyes narrowing. "Nothing to hide?" Maya swallowed hard, every muscle in her body tense. She could feel the bruises on her back, every nerve on fire. She wanted to scream, but she couldn't. She had to survive this moment. Her mother finally spoke, her voice quiet but firm. "She's just tired, that's all," she said. Her words seemed to irritate him, and he turned his glare toward her. Maya's stomach twisted in fear. She couldn't let him know she had spoken to anyone. She couldn't let him find out about the teacher, about the secret she had shared. Her father's suspicion grew, and he began asking more questions. "Tired?" "That's it." His tone was sharp, demanding answers. Maya's mind raced, trying to think of something believable, something safe. I have a headache," she said finally, her voice barely above a whisper. Her father didn't look satisfied, but he didn't press further, at least not yet. The tension lingered as he left the room, slamming the door behind him. Maya exhaled slowly, feeling the tight knot in her chest loosen just a little. But the fear didn't disappear. She knew it was only a matter of time before he would sense something was wrong again. Lila's words echoed in her mind. "We'll figure this out together." Maya clung to that thought like a lifeline. She had to be careful, but she also knew she couldn't give up. Help was coming, and soon she would not be alone in this battle. For now, she had to survive the day, survive the next few hours, and survive her father's growing suspicion. Every step, every word, every small action mattered. Her pain was still sharp, but her resolve was stronger. Maya realized that courage wasn't about not feeling fear. It was about moving forward despite it. Outside, the wind rustled the trees, whispering promises of change and freedom. Maya closed her eyes for a moment, letting herself imagine a life without fear. It felt fragile, almost impossible, but it was real. And deep inside, she knew she was ready to fight for that life, no matter the danger. The morning was bright, but Maya barely noticed. Her back ached, and her heart pounded with every small sound from the house. She knew today might change everything. The secret she had carried for so long was about to be revealed, but the fear in her chest was almost as heavy as the pain in her back. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. Strong, firm, and official. "Open the door, please," a calm but commanding voice said. Maya froze. Her father's shadow passed by the window, and he glared suspiciously. "Who is it?" he barked. Maya's stomach twisted with fear. She glanced at her mother, who didn't answer, her face pale and worried. The door opened slowly, and two adults stepped inside. They were from the Child Protection Agency. One of them held a clipboard. The other spoke gently. "Maya, we're here to help you. You're safe now," the woman said kindly. Maya's heart raced, but she felt a strange warmth at the words. Someone finally believed her. Her father stepped forward, anger flashing in his eyes. "What is this? Who gave you permission?" he shouted. But the officials stood firm. "Sir, this is for Maya's safety. She is not to remain in danger," they said. Fear and authority clashed in the room, and Maya huddled in the corner, clutching her aching back. One of the officials knelt beside her. "Maya, you can tell us everything. It's safe here. You will not get in trouble. We will protect you." Her voice shook as she looked up, seeing hope for the first time in weeks. Slowly, painfully, Maya began to speak. She told them everything. The nights filled with shouting, the moments of pain, the bruises on her back, and the fear she had hidden for so long. As Maya spoke, tears streamed down her face. But with each word, a weight lifted from her shoulders. The officials listened carefully, taking notes, nodding, and asking gentle questions. The truth of her story was now out in the open. Her father's anger grew with every sentence, but he was powerless in the face of the law. When she finished, one of the officials smiled gently. "Thank you for trusting us, Maya. You are very brave. We will make sure you are safe, and your father will face the consequences of his actions." Relief mixed with fear washed over her. She was safe, for now, but the reality of what was happening felt almost unreal. Her mother hugged her tightly, whispering apologies and promises at the same time. Maya felt a mix of emotions, sadness for all the pain she had endured, fear of the unknown, and a fragile spark of hope for the future. She realized that her life was about to change in ways she had only dreamed of. The officials gently guided her away from the house, helping her into a safe car. Maya looked back one last time at the home that had been her prison. The windows, the walls. They had been witnesses to her suffering. But now, the house was behind her, and a new chapter was beginning. As the car drove away, Maya closed her eyes and let herself breathe. She still felt pain in her back, and her heart still carried fear. But she also felt something new. Courage. She had survived. She had spoken the truth, and she had been heard. And somewhere deep inside, a promise formed. One day, she would be free of the shadows that had haunted her for so long. Outside, the wind whispered through the trees, soft and gentle, as if carrying a message just for her. You are safe now. You are not alone. For the first time in weeks, Maya believed it. And that belief, small but fierce, was enough to keep her moving forward. Maya sat on the edge of her new bed, sunlight streaming through the window, warm against her face. For the first time in weeks, she felt a little bit of peace. Her back still ached, but it no longer felt like a chain holding her down. The fear that had haunted her every step was slowly fading, replaced by something she had not felt in a long time. Hope. The first days in the safe home had been difficult. She had cried a lot, sometimes alone, sometimes with the kind adults who cared for her. They listened patiently, never judging, never rushing her. Slowly, she began to trust again. Slowly, she began to believe that she deserved safety, love, and care. Her teacher, Ms. Harris, came to visit one afternoon. Maya's heart skipped a little when she saw her. "Hello, Maya," Ms. Harris said softly. "How are you feeling today?" Maya smiled faintly. "Better, I think," she replied. Ms. Harris nodded, sitting beside her. "You've been very brave, Maya. Never forget that. Speaking up was not easy, but it saved you." Maya felt a surge of pride mixed with relief. Speaking up had been terrifying, but now she could see the difference it had made. She thought about Lila, her friend, who had stood by her side when she felt weakest. Maya's heart swelled with gratitude. Without Lila's courage, she might still be trapped in fear. The days passed slowly, each one a step toward healing. Therapy sessions helped her untangle the knots of fear and pain that had been inside her for so long. Slowly, she learned to move without flinching, to sit without wincing, and even to smile without guilt. Her back healed bit by bit, but more importantly, her spirit began to mend. One evening, Maya wrote in her diary, her handwriting shaky but determined, "I am not my fear. I am not my pain. I am stronger than what happened to me. One day, I will help other children like me. One day, I will be free." Writing those words made her feel powerful, as if she had taken back control of her life. School eventually felt safe again. She returned with careful steps, supported by teachers and friends who understood her story. She laughed a little more freely, shared small secrets with Lila, and even helped other students who were struggling. Each small action was a reminder that she was no longer a victim, but someone brave enough to survive and protect others. Her father had been held accountable, and while the memory of fear still lingered, it no longer ruled her. Maya had learned that courage was not the absence of fear. It was moving forward even when fear was there. And that courage, small and fragile at first, had grown into something unshakable. As Maya looked out the window one evening, the sun setting in golden streaks across the sky, she felt something new. Possibility. The world was not as terrifying as it had seemed. There was pain, yes, but also love. There was darkness, yes, but also light. And most importantly, there was hope. Maya took a deep breath, placing a hand over her healed back. The scars were still there, reminders of the past, but they did not define her. She was Maya, brave, strong, and free. And as the wind whispered through the trees outside, she whispered back to herself, "I am safe now. I am not alone, and I will never give up." The journey had been long, painful, and frightening, but Maya had survived. She had found courage in the darkest hours, hope when all seemed lost, and a path forward that would lead her to healing, strength, and a life full of possibility.